In this episode, I'm going to give you 4 telltale signs that your IUL is not structured correctly, how to tell if whoever set it up did not optimize its performance by structuring it correctly and funding it properly, as I teach on this channel. Such as if it's not earning more than the costs and fees within the first few policy years, that's a red flag. So get ready. I'm going to go through 4 telltale signs that if you analyze your IUL policy and if it's not projected on the illustration to do what I'm going to share, or if you've had your policy for 5 or 10 years, if it has not achieved this yet, you better have it audited and you better have it corrected, or else you're missing out. So I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for north of 5 decades, helping thousands of Americans optimize assets, minimize taxes, and empower their authentic wealth. My favorite financial vehicle, without question, is a properly structured, max-funded, indexed universal life. When it's structured correctly and funded properly, it is deemed what I call a laser fund. The title of my most recent best-selling book, that if you have not read this, I'll gift you a copy at the end of this episode. But folks, this is critical because you're missing out on possibly a fortune if whoever set up your IUL did not structure it correctly and fund it properly to do what I'm going to talk about in this episode. So get ready. So folks, there are some telltale signs. I'm going to go through 4 right now that will help you understand if your IUL policy is structured correctly to be used as a living benefit, which when I talk about max funded index universal life, most people are wanting to use it for tax-free accumulation and tax-free income at the highest net internal rate of return. They're not primarily focused on the death benefit. And unfortunately, I would say over 95% of IUL policies are not structured to be optimizing your living benefits to earn a great internal rate of return and create the greatest amount of net tax-free income. So let's go through 4 of these. Listen very, very close. If you have recently taken out an IUL policy, or you're considering one, or maybe you've had one for a few years, if it's recent, you should pull out your illustration that the agent gave you when you took out your policy, okay? And look at the illustration. Maybe you set it up for yourself. You wouldn't believe how many IUL agents even have an aha moment when they look at this. So you take the illustration, or you can order an in-force illustration from your issuing insurance company. If you've had a policy for 10 or 15 or 20 years, you can just pull out your statements, okay? Now, here's what you should look for. Number 1. If it's structured correctly and funded properly with the least amount of insurance based on your age, gender, and health, to put in the most money the IRS allows, as fast as the IRS allows under the TAMRA tax citation, this is what should generally happen. Number 1, your premium costs and fees, okay? The costs of the insurance and the fees in the IUL policy should be covered by the earnings on your IUL policy within the first few years, usually by the 5th or 6th year, unless you were, unfortunate and started an IUL policy like in the year 2000 when we had 3 down years, which is very uncommon after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Then maybe it took 6 or 7 years before it was earning more than the cost and the fees. But generally, in the early years, by the 5th year, the costs and fees of your IUL should be totally covered by the earnings each year on the IUL, okay? If it's not doing that, or if it's not coming close, you maybe want to have it audited or have it fixed. Second telltale sign, if the cash value in your IUL policy is not equal to or greater than the premiums that you've paid in, the aggregate premiums you've paid in by the 5th year, okay? So if you're socking away $500 a month, that's $6,000 a year. 6,000 times 5 is 30,000. Your cash value should be 30,000 or more. At least your accumulation value, maybe even the surrender value. So if your cash value does not equal or exceed the premiums you paid in by the fifth or sixth year, you ought to have it audited, because you're probably paying for more insurance than you need, and it's not going to perform very well. If you earned 8 or 9%, you might only net 4 or 5%. I want you to earn 9 and net 8% retroactive back to date one. Okay. Here's the third telltale sign. If you max fund the policy, then the cash value growing in there will usually, if you're funding it at maximum levels, it will usually grow to equal and exceed the original death benefit, the minimum death benefit. When you set up the policy, it will grow to equal or exceed that death benefit by the 10th year, 12th year, 15th year. If your cash value doesn't even equal the premiums you paid in the 20th year, my heavens, you need to have it audited and fixed or replaced. I've seen many IUL policies. You add up the premiums paid into the 20th year, and the cash value isn't even half of what they paid into it. That policy would be given a flunking grade, in my opinion. Okay, now, not only do you want the cash value to be greater than the premiums you paid in, you're trying to get a great rate of return, the cash value should grow to equal and maybe even exceed the death benefit by the 10th year, the 12th year, the 15th year. Okay, if it is not projected to do that, or if it has not done that, if you've owned one that long, you ought to have it audited to see how you could fix it or replace it. Here's the fourth telltale sign. When you have an IUL policy, and in the illustration, you go down the road 20 years, 25, 30 years, maybe to age 65, and you look at the cash value, and you calculate the internal rate of return, okay? That is the actual rate of return you would have to be getting on the premiums you paid into the policy to end up with that much money at the 20th year, the 30th year, or age 65. If that internal rate of return, as if the insurance was coming along for the ride free, we know nothing's free, but the insurance at the end of the day, retroactive back to day one, the insurance should have been costing you no more than 1 percentage point on the average, even maybe a half. What I mean is, if you earned an average of 9% for 30 years, your internal rate of return, cash on cash, should have been 8.5, but at least 8. If you're 9, you should be netting 8% retroactive back to day one. Now, in actuality, in the 30th year, if you're earning 9, you're probably netting 8.8. If you structured it correctly, the cost of insurance is actually cheaper in the 30th year than it was the first year. Have you ever seen an insurance policy that gets cheaper as you get older? Then you haven't seen one structured correctly, okay? Your policy should get cheaper as you get older, as you self-insure, as your cash value grows to equal and exceed the original death benefit, okay? And a lot of times people are not using the right death benefit. They're using the increasing death benefit instead of the level death benefit, especially after they funded the policy. So calculate the internal rate of return. If the IRR, internal rate of return, is not within about 1% of the gross average rate of return, if you've been credited 8 and you're only netting 4, you should have it tweaked. You should have it fixed, okay? If you're earning 9 and it's netting 8 or 8.5 by the 30th year, okay, that's a sign that it was structured correctly and funded properly. If you don't understand internal rate of return, reach out to us and let us audit your policy, okay? But folks, hopefully these 4 criteria will help you understand how you can tell if your IUL is going to perform the way that you hoped it would. And so many times, maybe the IUL agent didn't know what they didn't know, they didn't understand, and they had way more life insurance than they needed in the policy. I don't want you to make the mistake and wait 20 years to find out that you made a mistake 20 years earlier by not having it fixed. So if you want to understand this, first of all, claim a free copy of my most recent best-selling book, The Laser Fund. It's actually 2 books in one, a 300-page book that will show you how to diversify and create the foundation for a tax-free retirement. This is flying off of our warehouse shelves. You can pick up You can pick it up on Amazon for 20 bucks, up to 60 bucks, plus shipping. If you do that, thank you, but I'll gift you a copy for free. But I require a little skin in the game. Simply go to laserfund, laserfund.com, or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that, and I'll pay for the book. I will fire out a hard copy to you via priority mail. It's actually 2 books in one. This side is for the left brain learner, charts and graphs. This side contains 62 stories, okay? That's the right brain side. If you want to use your whole brain, left brain and right brain, read the entire 2 books. But folks, when you're in there claiming your free copy, if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn, there's those formats available for your investment. You can even schedule to attend a free educational webinar. We teach weekly, no cost, no obligation. But you can even schedule a free quick consultation with an IUL professional, a certified professional that will show you how a properly structured max-funded IUL does what I'm talking about in this episode. They'll show you an illustration of if you set aside $500 a month, $5,000 a year, $50,000 a year, $500,000 a year, doesn't matter, and how you can have those 4 criteria. They'll show you one structured right so that the costs and fees are covered by the interest you're earning by the early years of the policy, that the cash value is equal to or greater than the premiums you paid in by the 5th year or so, and how the cash value will grow to equal and exceed the death benefit within 10 or 15 or 20 years, and how the internal rate of return will be within 1% of the gross rate of return retroactive back to day 1. They'll show you an illustration of a policy structured to do what I've been talking about.